Hey everyone, history buffs and fans of the unique. Before you dive into this story, do me a quick solid. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. What you're about to read is an insane journey into the world of gunsmithing madness and genius that you've probably never heard of. And stick around until the end. There's a big surprise and a question I want every single one of you to answer in the comments. Don't skip ahead, this gets wild. Let's get into it. The Ghost in the Armory. Picture a quiet, dusty museum. Neat rows of display cases. Behind glass lie century-old relics. There's the famous Luger Parabellum. Elegant, angular, recognizable at a glance. It's a symbol of an entire era, an icon of design, frozen in metal. You're supposed to treat it with reverent respect, like the Mona Lisa or Van Gogh's Starry Night. You don't touch it. To alter it is sacrilege. But what if I told you that in the silence of this museum, in its farthest corner, lives a restless ghost? A ghost who sneaks up to the displays at night, takes out these priceless exhibits, and starts reassembling them. He's not breaking them. He's having a conversation with them. He's asking, what if you were born not at the start of the 20th century, but at the end? What if your brother wasn't a Mauser rifle, but an AK-47? That ghost's name is Herbert Werle. And his story isn't just about a talented gunsmith. It's a saga about a man who dared to argue with history itself. It's 50 shades of single Parabellum, 50 lives it could have lived if it had fallen into the hands of a daring god. The inspector who saw the soul of steel. Let's start at the beginning, as you should. Herbert Werle wasn't a self-taught lone wolf working out of his garage. No, his path was far more solid. For years, he served as a quality control inspector for weaponry in the Army's Chief Department for Small Arms Repair. Just think about that for a second. His workdays consisted of thousands of Lugers, disassembled and put back together. He knew every screw, every spring, every microscopic bit of play that could cause a misfire. He listened to them breathe, how their unique toggle lock action, reminiscent of a Swiss watch, worked in harmony. He didn't just see pistols. He saw their souls, their personalities. Some were stubborn and finicky. Others were obedient and reliable. It was here, in this strict atmosphere of military inspection, that his obsession was born. He understood the Luger better than anyone. He saw not only its genius, but also its flaws. The complexity of manufacturing, its sensitivity to ammunition, its vulnerability to dirt. And in his head, questions began to form. Can it be made simpler? Can it be made more powerful? Can I make it sing a different song? When he left for civilian life, he didn't leave his passion behind. He founded his own workshop, Waffen Werle, in the town of Dudenhofen, Germany. And from that moment on, his dialogue with the Parabellum turned from internal to explicit, from repair to creation, from maintaining history to rewriting it. Mad sculptor or genius? The Werle principle. Before we get to his masterpieces, let's get one thing straight. Werle wasn't a vandal. The original text has a key sentence we can't ignore. Anticipating the inevitable cries of outrage, it should be noted that Werle did not convert pistols of historical value. And why would he, when he could just make new ones? This was his creed, his philosophy. He wasn't cutting up rare antiques with an angle grinder. He was a sculptor who didn't destroy ancient statues, but took a new block of marble and carved something of his own, inspired by the classics. He used blueprints, modern materials, and technologies to create Lugers from scratch. This absolves him of charges of barbarism and elevates him to the rank of a creator. He wasn't killing a legend. He was giving it new, sometimes utterly insane, opportunities for rebirth. The Kalashnikov Luger. The insane leap. And this brings us to his most famous and most provocative creation. The one that makes purists clutch their pearls and innovators whistle in admiration. The Kalashnikov Luger. Imagine for a second saying that name to George Luger himself back in 1905. He wouldn't understand you. And after hearing an explanation, he'd think you were insane. So what's the deal? Werle took the spirit of the Luger, its bolt, its grip, its aesthetic, and fused it with the soul of the most prolific assault rifle in history, the AK-47. And he made this chimera fire in full auto. An automatic Luger. It sounds like an oxymoron, but Werle made it a reality. The technical magic. The problem was obvious. The Luger's layout is that of a classic pistol with a fixed barrel. The AK's layout is that of a long gun with gas-operated action. How do you combine them? Werle found a brilliant and slightly crazy solution. He placed the barrel of his hybrid inside a fake gas tube. Yeah, you heard that right. What looked like the familiar gas tube of an AK from the outside was actually a shroud hiding the real barrel inside. And a ring was welded into the front sight base to keep that barrel from moving. And the barrel that everyone sees, the one that makes it look like a rifle, the rifle barrel is fake. It's a dummy, a brilliant optical illusion, a trick for the brain. Imagine the look on someone's face when they first pick up this Kalash Luger. They see the familiar lines of a rifle, but a pistol grip and a Luger toggle bolt. Their brain tries to combine the incompatible. It's the firearm's equivalent of an impossible triangle drawing. And that's where Werle's genius lies. He plays with our perception, with our expectations. My take, was this hybrid practical? Probably not. It's complex, heavy, and its ergonomics are questionable. But that's not the point. This was a loud manifesto, a statement. Look, there are no boundaries. No sacrificados. There is only an idea and the metal that can be bent to its will. It's a firearms performance piece, worthy of a museum of modern art. A gallery of dreams, hunters, snipers, and midgets. But the Kalashnikov Luger is just one painting in Werle's vast gallery. His workshop was a dream factory where the Parabellum tried on all sorts of different outfits. The .45 ACP, the dream of a lost contract. Together with Austrian master Karl Nedball, Werle released a small series of Lugers chambered for the American .45 ACP cartridge. This isn't just a whim. It's a historical nod. In the early 20th century, the U.S. was looking for a new service pistol, and the Luger was a contender, but it was deemed too complex and expensive. The winner, as we know, was Colt's M1911. Werle, in essence, realized what might have been. He created an alternate reality where German engineering had conquered the American market. Each of these pistols is an artifact from a world of what if. The target pistol, the shooting aristocrat. Now, the modification for target shooting is pure pragmatism taken to the absolute. A heavy match-grade barrel that barely vibrates. A fully adjustable target sight for micro-corrections. And the main feature, the safety relocated under the shooter's right thumb. Why? So the shooter wouldn't have to change their grip and disrupt their aim while switching the safety with their left thumb. This is a weapon for winning, where every single point counts. The hunting carbine, the legal Luger. Next, he went bigger. Werle created a hunting carbine based on the Luger, again in the mighty .45 ACP caliber. But here we run into the legal side of creativity. German gun laws are some of the strictest in the world. To make his carbine legally usable for hunting, he had to get clever. He made the magazine non-detachable. Imagine it, an elegant Luger turned into a full-length rifle with a fixed magazine. It's wild, absurd, and yet fascinating. Werle was having a dialogue not only with gunsmithing art, but also with the law, finding loopholes to realize his fantasies. The long-barreled monster and the gas piston. What if you want a really long barrel? Like 600 millimeters, almost 2 feet. The classic Luger toggle lock mechanism might struggle with a barrel that long. So Werle took a radical step. He threw out the toggle lock. In its place, he installed a short-stroke gas piston. This isn't just a modification. This is a heart transplant. He replaced the weapon's very soul, leaving only its outer shell. Decisions like this show he wasn't just an assembler, but a deep engineer capable of fundamental redesigns. The mini Luger, the pocket aristocrat, and finally, the polar opposite of all these monsters, the mini Luger, a subcompact version for concealed carry. And here, Werle faced the most difficult task, because as rightly noted in the original text, the canonical proportions of the original Luger are, without a doubt, a masterpiece of firearms design, unlikely to be surpassed by any modification. You can shrink the Mona Lisa down to postage stamp size. But can you keep its magic? Werle tried, and his mini Luger is a cute, amusing attempt a tribute to the original, but with the understanding that genius often lies in perfect, God-given proportions. The economics of madness. Why this never went mainstream. Now let's come down from the creative clouds to the gritty reality of business. Why did Werle's creations remain one-off curiosities instead of spawning a new firearms industry? Economic background and analysis, based on general small business economics. Phenomenal cost. The original Parabellum was expensive in its day due to complex milling and hand-fitting. Werle made his creations practically by hand, in small batches or as one-of-a-kind items. The cost for design, experimentation, unique tooling, and a master's highly paid labor were colossal. The price of one such carbine, or Luger, could reach tens of thousands of euros. This is luxury item territory, not mass-market firearms. No economies of scale. Factories like Glock or Smith & Wesson make money by stamping out thousands of identical pistols, spreading the initial development costs over a huge production run. Every Werle piece was unique. He couldn't lower the price even if he wanted to. A niche, almost non-existent. Market, who needs a hybrid of an AK and a Luger? A narrow circle of collector connoisseurs who value exclusivity and engineering boldness. The army, police, and sports shooters don't need it. The market for such products is dozens, maybe a few hundred people worldwide. Legal hurdles. As we saw with the carbine and its fixed magazine, each creation had to be fitted into the strict langue of national and international gun laws. This meant extra costs for legal counsel and certification. The bottom line, Werle's workshop wasn't a factory, it was an art studio. He wasn't selling weapons, he was selling realized dreams. His business model was like that of a custom car shop or a studio making unique watches. It was art for art's sake, funded by those who could appreciate and afford that uniqueness. A conversation with the ghost. What remains of Werle? Herbert Werle has passed on, leaving behind not an assembly line, but a legacy. Not a mass product, but a cultural phenomenon. He proved that even something as conservative and traditional as a historical firearm can have an infinite number of potential lives. He was a director staging the same play, the story of the Parabellum, in wildly different genres: action movie, thriller, sports drama, hunting idol, and sci-fi. He makes us think. What's more important, to preserve an artifact untouched, like a mummy in a sarcophagus, or to give it a chance at a new life, even in a shocking new form? He didn't give an answer. He just asked the question, forging it in steel. His creations are a bridge between a respectable past and a daring present. They remind us that progress is born not only from pragmatic calculations, but also from pure, unconstrained imagination, from a desire to ask, why the hell not? Well, that wraps up our journey into the world of Herbert Werle. I hope it got your gears turning as much as it did mine. Now, for the promised surprise in question. I've put together an exclusive poster collage of all of Werle's creations we talked about today. You can find a link to download it for free in the description of this video. Go grab it. And now, my question for you folks. What do you think? Was Herbert Werle a madman who vandalized a legend, or a genius who gave it immortality in new forms? I want to hear your reasoned opinions in the comments below. Let's get a real debate going. I'll pin the most interesting comments. And of course, if you enjoyed this deep dive, if you want to see more content like this on the channel, then you know what to do. Subscribe, smash that like button, and hit the notification bell. Your support is the only way to tell the algorithms that topics like this matter. Thanks for sticking with me until the end.